Over the last several hours, really going into the midday and afternoon hours, we have started to see it, albeit slowly, weaken. It is back down to a Category 4, still a devastating and potentially catastrophic storm, but at least we do see that weakening, which will be a trend really through the rest of its existence. That has been the trend on models, and it looks like that will continue. Right now, winds are 155 miles an hour. We've also in the last advisory seen those wind gusts come down. They had been maxing out at 200 miles per hour. They have come down now to 119. Still moving very rapidly west-northwest. It really has maintained that forward speed since it was still in the invest, moving very quickly on the southern end of a large upper ridge, which is to the north of it. Getting in on those strong storms you can see based on satellite in southern Dominican Republic. Core of the storm still well south, though, of Hispaniola, but that will not be the case as it starts to near Jamaica. We were hoping that maybe the core of the storm would stay much farther south of Jamaica and the Caymans. That's kind of what the models and the forecasts had been as of late yesterday evening and night. Well, we've kind of seen a little bit more of a northerly motion to the storm than almost more due west. So with that more northerly component, we're starting to likely see the possibility of the core of the storm moving directly over Jamaica sometime tomorrow midday or early afternoon. I'm going to move my computer here just a little bit so you can kind of see the path there. As it continues, it will be weakening, but still a Category 3 will bring some massive devastation in terms of the winds. Now you're looking at the strongest winds of 125 miles an hour moving almost directly over the island, as well as a high surge. So that will be a concern even as it continues toward the Caymans. The Caymans, we might see the core of the storm stay a little bit more south of the islands, but still will be very, very close. Will continue to weaken as it moves toward the Yucatan, and a lot of folks here have been questioning, okay, it is going to start making a little bit of a turn once it gets into the either Bay of Campeche or may stay out of the bay altogether and remain more in the southwestern Gulf. That little turn here, not too worried about it. The reason why is by the time it gets to that point, it will be a far weaker storm. Now, this is the official track kind of overlaid with the data from the Euro model. So this is just one model run, but it does indicate kind of a very small, this is a rather compact storm. This is not a huge wind field, not a massive field of heavy rainfall or storm surge, and that rainfall will likely stay contained very near the center. So even as this is a weakening storm, at least based on the Euro, doesn't appear as though the rainfall really spreads out very much from the center. More of an issue for northern Mexico and possibly even southern Texas. We'll eventually start to get in on better rain chances here in the coming days, but that's not until early next week. So even as that storm turns into the Gulf, it'll be a far weaker storm. The reason for that turn, and I wanted to actually go to a different graphic here, is a break in the upper ridge. The upper ridge that has been keeping us so hot over the last several days will continue into the rest of this week. By the weekend and early next week, we start to see the upper high shift a bit more to the east as this upper troughing kind of, one, pushes the ridge a little bit more west, or excuse me, to the east, and two, weakens the ridge. These storms find those weaknesses in the upper pattern, and that is what will start drawing Beryl northward into northern Texas or southern Mexico. Right now, the models and the consistent model or the consistent forecast from the Hurricane Center would have that turn maybe more South Texas at the farthest north as of right now. But there is still a lot of uncertainty with kind of the days 5 and 7. If we were to see any impact from Beryl, it would likely be maybe some rain. Much needed rainfall, but it looks to be right now just a rain threat for us. The reason we're starting to see Beryl finally start weakening, this had been well forecasted by the Hurricane Center. You kind of see the motion in water vapor. So here is Beryl right now. You see the motion on water vapor here of this kind of quick movement toward the north. That is the wind shear that the storm is starting to encounter and will continue to encounter for the rest of its time through the Caribbean and into the Gulf. There will be wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico as well. So it doesn't look like once this is able to get into the Gulf waters, it's going to suddenly organized, it will still be threatened by this strong wind shear. That will keep the storm unorganized, weak, and more than anything, just a rainmaker as it does move into either northern Mexico or southern Texas. So again, for us, at the moment, still not looking at any impacts. If we were to see any, it would likely just be some rainfall. And at that point, we probably will be begging for some rain. Once we're done with Beryl, the only other area that we are still watching is Invest 96. 2 days ago, Hurricane Center maintained this, or highlighted this with a high % chance of development. Yesterday, they decreased that to a medium % chance of development. Today, it now has a low chance of development. Really, none of the models are aggressive with this at all. All of them kind of just drifted eventually toward the Caribbean as a rainmaker and nothing organized. So as far as Invest 96 go, doesn't look like we're worrying about anything there. And as far as Beryl goes, right now we are not expecting any impacts in South Louisiana. If we were to see something, wouldn't be until early next week, and at the moment it looks like it would just be rain. Our focus will continue to be on the heat, which will have a full look at that hot weather forecast coming up on WW Louisiana at 5 and 6. For now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin.